Hello everyone. So today I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into talking about ableism and autism. There's some more things I had actually came across, as well as some other things that I was thinking about that I actually wanted to discuss in this video, because I know I briefly touched on it in a previous video in terms of like misconceptions and stigmas. So here's some things I want to go into. So first, like telling like someone autistic that they should only date someone else autistic or someone who works with people on the spectrum. Essentially, like I feel like in a way, like it's a form of segregation, and it's kind of like date your own kind. Everyone is unique in terms of their preferences and who they prefer to date, similar interests, things like that. But that statement of like telling someone autistic that they should only date another person autistic or someone who works with people on the spectrum, just feel like that's ableist in nature. If you are told that you're overreacting if something is overstimulating you too much, that's potentially something else that can go into the nature of ableism. The next one is like a really interesting one for me. So the idea that someone on the spectrum cannot live independently. Okay, so I had actually watched that show, Love on the Spectrum. I actually discussed it with my sister as well. One thing that like I noticed in the show, that was it was a very like small detail like I had noticed, because I was like, why is it that none of the cast members are portrayed as living independently? Like, and that was something that was bugging me, because I was like thinking like there's many people on the spectrum. Yes, there's people on the spectrum that do require that additional support, or they do have to live with someone, but there's also a lot of people on the spectrum who do live independently. And like, that was like somewhat irritating me that that wasn't displayed, because when you do have that out in the mainstream media, it puts this narrative out there that if you're on the spectrum, you can't live independently. If that's all that people see on the show is just cast members who are living with their parents or living with someone else, it's just this narrative that, hey, like they're not able to live independently. So in some ways, I felt that that was somewhat damaging. The next is thinking of autism as something that can be cured when it is a lifelong disability. Autism itself, yes, is a lifelong disability. There's some subdiagnosis with autism. For example, myself, I have OCD, I have anxiety, ADHD. Those subdiagnoses can potentially be treated with medication. And some of those symptoms can be better, but autism as a whole, it simply cannot be cured. So the next thing I wanted to address is a version on the idea that like if a child was to potentially be autistic, the idea that it would be aborted. So I wanted to clarify that I am pro-choice, and that when it comes to this argument, I'm just speaking in regards to only if it becomes known that the child might be autistic. Okay, so this was a really touchy thing for me, because like I was actually in one of my classes one day at OSU, and I think it was like a comparative studies class. And like we had got on the topic of like something came out like where we got on the topic of like disabilities, and like if someone like had children, and like someone had like randomly stated out like I would abort a child like if there was a possibility of it becoming autistic. I had to get up and walk out of the class. I had to get up and walk out the class because I didn't know, like, in the moment, like, what I was going to say. I knew I was extremely offended. And that, yeah, it didn't seem right in the moment. It didn't seem right. I just had to, like, walk away and just, like gather my thoughts. And then it's something I've actually thought about to this day, like, of, like, what the true meaning of that was. Because I was thinking about, okay, so, like, I think about, like, my mom, like, and how my mom didn't give up on me, and how, like, she fought for me throughout life and did things for me that she could, and, like, how that's so powerful and how that's so impacting. She gave me, yes, I am autistic. Yes, I do have a lot of struggles and challenges in life with various aspects of my autism. But she gave me that gift. She gave me that opportunity to still, to, if I could talk, to still succeed in life. Because even with those challenges, even with those hurdles, with the appropriate accommodations in place, you can still overcome those if you have, like, a support network. Because as I alluded into one of my previous videos, there's people who started believing in me, pushing me to go further, and it opened things in me that I wasn't even aware that was there. So just having those things in place.